Hello everyone, Mimikins here. Today's video is about the Charge Blade in the Monster Hunter Rise demo. Charge Blade has got to be one of the flashiest weapons in Monster Hunter along with the Switch Axe. It can go from defensive sword and shield mode to crazy damage with the axe. Monster Hunter Rise is no different, but what it has done has made the Charge Blade much friendlier to use for players, with the introduction of the new silkbind attacks. After watching the reveal trailer, I noticed that Savage Axe, the mode that was introduced in Iceborne, was missing. In the demo, I was unable to use Savage Axe, so it looks like it may have been removed. While I am disappointed to see this, I feel Capcom have been simplifying weapons in Rise. The Hunting Horn is a prime example. It's possible they could add Savage Axe in, perhaps using a silkbind. We do know that Capcom have been hiding some abilities that have been showcased for the game but not present in the demo, so we'll have to wait and see. There are several changes that I do think Charge Blade users will welcome. The Charge Blade feels like it was in the base game of World. You can build up files to charge your shield using the sword, weak slashes with the X, fade slash by pressing A in a direction during a combo, that's the sliding attack you see here. Charge double slash with A, you need to make sure you release this at the right time to perform the move properly. Two of these can fill the file gauge. If you hold the button for too long, your character will end up doing this, and it's not really as effective. Charge the files by pressing ZR and A, then perform your amped elemental discharge by pressing X and A, or instead you can press ZR to charge your shield. This will improve your power and guard capacity while also rewarding players for blocking an attack by triggering shield explosions as well as giving you access to perform the super amped elemental discharge. This can be used in your combos, or executed anytime while in axe mode by pressing X and A. If you only want to do a single file, you can press back on the stick and B while launching it. It wouldn't be Charge Blade without it. In Rise it does feel as satisfying as ever to use. However, I feel the range is slightly reduced, as well as some of the terrain making it miss entirely. So you will need to wait for prime opportunities to use it. This is more than made up for by the fact that silkbind moves make it much easier to both build up charges as well as set up. While having your shield charge, you can still charge your sword. You do this by charging your files with ZR and A, then right after the animation while still holding the ZR button, press X. The timing feels a little different compared to with World, so you'll need to make sure you time it correctly and release as soon as you get the charging animation like this. Otherwise, it will just do the animation and the sword won't charge, which takes up time and leaves your character vulnerable. It may take a few tries to master the timing, but it soon comes like second nature when you know what to look out for. I imagine some players new to Rise may be caught out by this and think the sword charge doesn't work properly, or it's only working sometimes and wondering why. Charging your sword will buff it so the attacks won't be deflected and you'll gain additional damage each time you attack. The silkbind attacks for Charge Blade are really good, and I know everyone that plays Charge Blade is going to want to use them, especially since it only costs 1 warbug each. This is what changes up gameplay the most in Rise. You need to have your weapon out to use the weapon exclusive silkbinds, otherwise you just get the generic movement ones. The first silkbind attack counter peak performance. Press ZL and A. You'll see iron silk surround your character. Being hit while your weapon is readied will fill your files to the maximum. This move is so easy to perform, you just need to activate it when the monster is going to hit you. The window is quite generous. Not only will you block incoming damage, but your files fill completely, ready to let rip a super amp discharge, charge your shield if needed, or just get off some combos while your axe has files. Using this move means you don't need to use the sword to increase the gauge or even charge your files. It's just ready to go, easy, simple, fast. It makes those times when you miss those super amped elemental discharges not feel as bad because you can get it back almost instantly. It also provides a way to easily guard against attacks if you're in axe mode and can't guard quickly enough into sword and shield, and don't want to rely on guard points, which are attacks that have automatic blocking frames at certain points. Another incredibly useful thing I discovered is that you can actually charge the sword by doing the silkbind move, which considerably reduces the animation time compared with the standard way. This wasn't in the hunter notes and I only discovered it after playing for some time in the demo, but this is nice. Charging the sword either put you in a vulnerable position to get hit, or you had to waste time when the monster was knocked down to get it off safely. This changes everything. Counter peak performance is hands down the most powerful change that Charge Blade has seen in Rise. The second silkbind attack is Morphing Advance. You activate this by pressing ZL and X. This will launch you forward while switching your blade to axe form. This one is really good as a gap closer but also provides an iframe and stops monsters from stunning or knocking you. This one has good potential as well and can be combined with counter peak performance to set up positioning for amped elemental discharge, or simply to move away from the monster if you want to charge your shield or sword, since those animations can make you vulnerable. Overall, while playing the Charge Blade, I felt that because I constantly had files available for use, it was completely viable for general axe use as well, which slightly compensates for the lack of Savage Axe mode we saw in Iceborne. By no means do you feel forced down the original path of super amped elemental discharge or nothing, because let's face it, some monsters can be a nightmare to land it on. There was also some terrain in Rise that seemed to affect whether or not amped elemental discharge would land. I adjusted my playstyle to suit it and was still able to put out good damage using a combination of the charged sword along with axe attacks boosted by files. Counter peak performance offers so much, I'm surprised at how often I can use it. This is going to be really helpful for players looking to block incoming attacks as well as insane file building. While I still think advanced Charge Blade players will make good use out of guard points, counter peak performance is really friendly even for beginners to use. Morphing Slash is a great way to close gaps or create gaps. The fact that it puts you in axe mode makes it easier to charge your shield or get a quick super amped elemental discharge at a given opportunity. Both silkbinds work well with the Charge Blade, you just need to keep an eye on your wirebug charges that you don't run out when you're needing to block something. You can of course still block with the shield as well. It's a fun weapon to play, good damage, good survival, and more accessible than ever for people who may want to wield it. Thanks for watching, please support the channel by liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.